Do you want to know the easiest recipe for making the Boccone Dolce in your own kitchen? This dessert is a popular European favorite and one of mine also. Get your ingredients ready and let's get baking. The first step is to preheat your oven to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. In a large bowl, start separating your egg white from your egg yolk because we're only going to be using the egg whites for this recipe. Once you did that, turn on the mixer to the highest setting so that we are getting the most amount of bubbles into the egg whites as possible. About 3 to 4 minutes into mixing your egg whites on high, they will start foaming and you can slowly add in the granulated sugar into the mixture. I also wanted to mention that you can find the ingredient list and the step-by-step directions in the description box below, along with the original recipe that we are borrowing from the blogger Inessa. She has some other wonderful recipes that you can check out, so click on the link below if you're interested. Once all the sugar is mixed into the egg whites, keep the mixture on high for a good 7 minutes until you get this beautiful marshmallowy texture. It will be really creamy and well blended. That's when you know that the batter is ready for the next step. While the mixer is still going, we're going to prepare our baking sheet with our parchment paper. I used my food scale because it's a perfect circular shape and it's about 9 inches in diameter. I used that to outline circles on the parchment paper with a pen, and then I just flipped the parchment paper over so that we wouldn't have to have the ink touch the batter. And just about now our meringue batter is ready to be poured into those 3 perfect circles for each of the layers of our beautiful Boccone Dolce cake. Next, we're going to separate the batter into the 3 circles that we drew on the parchment paper, trying to make sure that we keep the circles as even to each other as possible. Obviously, I didn't measure it, so I just eyeballed it, and they turned out pretty good. Because the batter is so stiff, it's best to put it directly into the center of the circle and then kind of shape it with the spatula as you go. Here's what my meringue looked like before we put them into the oven. They look so good. I cannot wait for them to be done. While we wait for the meringue to bake, I thought I'd share this little clip I took of my daughter taste testing the batter, and I just thought it was really funny, so I wanted to share with you guys. Alright, so 6 hours later, our meringue are done baking and we can pull them out to let them sit and cool. This usually takes about 30 minutes. During this time, we are going to melt the chocolate and get it ready for drizzling on top of our meringue. I put all of my chocolate into a small pot and turn on the heat setting to the lowest, just so that it slowly starts melting the chocolate. Once my chocolate was ready, I set it aside. Make sure that you take it off the stove, otherwise it's going to start burning on the bottom and it's going to be harder to work with and you might get like chunky pieces on your meringue. While we're still waiting for the meringue to cool, I went ahead and prepared my fruits. So I cut up the bananas that I had, and then I washed all my berries, cut them up so that they're ready to go when it's time to decorate. It's time to put our chocolate onto our meringue. This is really done to prevent the cake from moistening too quickly and then just becoming watery. So I ended up using a fork and a spatula to get all the chocolate onto the layers. One of the layers you will notice has way more chocolate on it than the other two, and this is the bottom one that's going to be holding all the weight and everything on top of it, so I ended up using more chocolate here. Now that the meringue is covered in chocolate, they look so good and delicious, it's time to put some cream on them, but before that we have to actually make the cream, so here goes that part. In a large mixing bowl, combine 4 cups of heavy whipping cream and 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar. When your whipping cream is fluffy and thick in texture, it is ready to be transferred into the piping bag. We're finally at the fun part, and that means piping our cream on our meringue and then topping it with berries, putting a little more cream, and then repeating the steps over and over. I cannot exaggerate how beautiful and delicate this cake looks. It is so creamy, so smooth, delicious. I hope that you all enjoy it. If you did, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel.